All right, everyone, this is the continuation of the class material, the slides from Sunday. The slide I'm on right now is Universal Awakening. And the principle to pay attention to here is that as we've been looking at the Tiwa phrases and a number of Hindu phrases, that these same vowel and consonant encodings, these same energies, are present across different cultures that are widely spaced. So, for instance, the Hindi word chakra, now the common interpretation usually for chakra has to do with a wheel. But if you study it more from an energetic viewpoint, say from Reiki or from other energy systems, then often the concept of portal is also introduced. So whereas a wheel might be a two-dimensional way of looking at these energy centers, the portal becomes both more of a three-dimensional way from looking at the diagram of the chakras going out one side of the body and out the other side. They pick up a three-dimensional quality, and also there's more of a sense of exchange of information, that there's different levels of information. And in fact, I've said in other videos on YouTube that the level of organization vertically, if you imagine these horizontal bands going across the body, as you go up the body, the organs that appear at that level really can only appear at the level of the body where they do because of the level of information and the level of energy that's there. For instance, in the area where the bladder is and the reproductive organs, they live in that area or that energy zone of the body. The brain could not function effectively being that far because the brain is used to operating at these higher level frequencies. So often the viewpoint of the class is self-revelation. We look at the way our body's put together, we look at what our mouth is doing. We can also turn our focus and the light of our presence to our organs internally and understand better what functions and what energy they hold. So going from Hindi with the word chakra, in Quechua being the language of the Peruvian and some of the Bolivian speaking peoples, the two main language groups down there are the Quechua and Aymara being mostly in Bolivia, Quechua being mostly in Peru, that there's the primary symbol of the Quechua Indians is the chakana. And the chakana is the primary cosmological symbol. It describes three levels of reality, very similar to in many shamanic traditions, a lower world, a middle world, and an upper world. But also, chakana means a portal. And you can see by looking at a picture of a chakana that the inside of the circle is an open space. And anytime you have an open space, that's not just a void, that is a portal. That is a place for energies to come through. And specifically, the design of the chakana facilitates channeling higher dimensional energies. We've got these 90-degree turns in the chakana, and in fact, there is another video on YouTube where I talk about the chakana and talk about how all the elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, are mapped into the shape of the chakana. And that mapping matches an interpretation of the direction of those energies that Anaya Khan had realized and had transmitted. So you have chakra and chakana, and the spinning part of this action of chakra or chakana comes from a similar word. We're looking at po che this week. And a che implies a spinning. Also in Quechua, there's the concept of a portal person, and a portal person, runa being the word for person, A chakaruna is a portal person, or a person who works with energies to join energies in different domains. So by looking at these words in the different languages and the different cultures, we can see similarities, clues to a common understanding of what the shapes are doing with the sounds coming out of the mouth. Next slide, sample sacred syllables. These are all ah sounds. Na, the standing wave. Very common ra is the fire. So here's an indication already. One of the functions of the letter R, and especially of the sound ra, is associated with fire, is associated with moving energy forward, transforming energy. And then la, the L sound, is the connecting to the higher realms, and the la is the ascending and descending light. The tongue is touching the top of the mouth. And the ma sound, we've looked at this previously, is mother, matter. This is manifestation. All right, now on the next slide, this is primarily review, entering the houses of light through sound. Next slide, sounds in the alphabet. So I talked about this briefly on Sunday, that in older cultures, when information was going to be encoded, it was encoded more in pictograms. These are symbolic and they strengthen holistic right brain concepts. Whereas even if you look in the pharaonic Egyptian hieroglyphics, over time in the later dynasties, they moved away from the pictograms and started to move towards other forms of text called demotic, which are more syllable-oriented type spelling systems. And eventually you get down to letter shapes that are apparently not associated with concepts, although we're learning the secrets behind those concepts. But once you get into alphabets as a primary way of communicating, you're actually strengthening abstract, linear, and left brain analysis. And I mentioned the book, The Goddess and the Alphabet, where it was drawn out in the first couple of chapters that part of the side effect for putting communication in a linear form is that you're strengthening the left brain, you're strengthening analytical skills, and you're strengthening patriarchies and male-dominated hierarchical systems. So part of what's happening in our culture is because of the types of expression we use in our culture, especially through writing. On the next slide, the English alphabet. And Joseph has said that English is adept at describing technical details. It's a language about technique, about technology. But we're finding ways to understand the sounds behind the letters and how many of the letters are encoded with the function of what's happening, or with the mouth shape, like in the p and the b and the and the g sound being in the back of the throat. G. On the next slide, working with the English alphabet, we're trying to understand the energetic meaning of the words, especially these spiritual terms, so that we can get a hook on them and sink into the meat. Our mind understands what the word or the letters are doing, and our mind is better able to pick up on that process of intuition, inspiration, revelation, and resonance, and learning the association between the letters and the mouth shapes. Now on the next slide, working with sound, chanting. When we consciously have intent and work with the sounds, we're working with archetypes behind creation. We've started to look at this a little bit with Poche and Namane, and in this slide, starting in the top center is Brahma, and on the left side is Vishnu, on the right side is Shiva, on the bottom is Ganesha. So one of the realizations is that these deities, which are personified representations of the sounds and the functions of the sounds behind their name. So it's worth spending some time with the phrase Brahma to understand its energy, the B and the Ra, the fire, and the manifestation sound in it, Brahma. And then also Vishnu and Shiva and Ganesha. Next slide, Brahma. Brahma means to expand, to think, and to manifest. The expansion of consciousness. In thinking, we expand. Or by thinking, we expand. That's one interpretation of Brahma. Next slide, Vishnu. Vish means to pervade, and Nu, one meaning is within. So an interpretation of Vishnu would be consciousness is everywhere. Consciousness is within. And again, this reminds us at the end of the word, the Nu, the standing N wave. And the words Hu and Nu all have to do with carrying divine energies. Next slide, Shiva. Shiv means right or calm. And the Shiva means to move or blow. So in Shiva, we're taking an energy that is present. This is why Shiva is often interpreted as, quote, the destroyer, is that we're taking a situation or an energetic condition and we're changing it. And we're realigning it back to its own purity. So one of the things that Shiva means is the one who is eternally pure. The next slide, Ganesha. Ganesha, breaking down the syllables. Think, Lord, excellent. So Ganesha, think, Lord, excellent. And one interpretation of Ganesha is excellent consciousness and the force behind manifestation. Now here is, on the next slide, the Ganesh mantra, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And frequently, this is used in a 40-day practice. You could also do 40 individual representations in a single practice. And the reason 40 is used, oftentimes in the Bible, 40 is looked at as the time of testing. But it's really the time of manifestation, because when you break the number down, and Joseph and many native traditions are very clear about this, when you're doing ceremony or anything, you want to do it 4 times. And doing it 4 times is establishing something on the earth. And then the number 10 represents totality or perfection. So to do it 40 times, to do something 40 times, is to do something so it's perfectly established on the earth. You've made a statement that I've done this practice or I've done this thing, and it's like the vibration of the earth honors what you've done and accepts it, and it's there. It's in your field, it's on the earth. You've made a statement, you've done something. And for this slide also, I just mention on the Ganesh mantra, these syllables, a lot of G syllables in here with the G sound. The G sound, if you practice it, G, the G is in the back of the throat. And the G sound, like this, in many cultures is associated with, in our language also, with God or the divine. And the area on the body, or the energetic location for Ganesh as the animal or the deity, Brahma is the actual deity technically, but Ganesh is the animal, is the root chakra. So if you can imagine on your body energy coming from the earth, coming up, and another band of energy coming from the heavens, coming down. And this energy band or energy flow coming from the earth up, that's your manifesting energy, and it comes up through the root chakra. So by chanting the Ganesh mantra, we are seeding or affecting the energy as it's coming into manifestation. So that's why Ganesh is considered to be the remover of obstacles, because whatever the world is around us is seeded or an outflow from the energy that we carry, and this energy is coming in related to our earth experiences and our manifestation up through the root chakra. So by chanting in the energies that affect the root chakra, the G sound, by holding the intention and doing the chant, then we're altering the type of energy that's coming into manifestation for us. All right, that's it for the slides. The homework again was to chant every day. Same suggestions about a journal, YouTube videos. If you were listening to Joseph talk on the Native American spirituality teachings, there are 4 of those videos. So if you haven't done so already, now would be a good time to listen to number 2. Then if you have the book Being in Vibration, reading chapter 3 will help you to attune to Joseph and the teachings. And also I recall from class towards the end saying maybe it didn't matter if you said ch, as in po che or po che, that you will get the same information. Actually, you'll get similar information, but technically the correct pronunciation would be po che, not po che. Po che. All right, have a great week. Thank you.